Kitty and the Groovy Playdate. Pete the Kitty jumps out of bed. I cannot wait, Grumpy Toad and I have a groovy playdate. Hey Grumpy Toad, I'm ready to play. It's going to be an awesome day! Pete wants to play with Grumpy Toad's cool blue truck. Zoom, zoom, vroom, all around the room. But Grumpy Toad starts to whine. That truck is mine, mine, mine. Pete the Kitty says, no worries, that's okay. I'll find something else to play. Pete finds some blocks. Let's build a city, says Pete. But Grumpy Toad starts to whine. Those blocks are mine, mine, mine. Pete the Kitty says, no worries, that's okay. I'll find something else to play. Pete sees a superhero cape far out. Have no fears, Super Kitty is here. Grumpy Toad starts to whine. That cape is mine, mine, mine. Grumpy Toad has all the toys and Pete has none. This playdate is just not fun. Pete is sad. Pete is blue. He thinks about what to do. Grumpy Toad, wouldn't it be better if we were playing together? Grumpy Toad says, my pile of toys has grown, but it's no fun playing alone. Grumpy Toad thinks of all the fun he and Pete have together. Yes, sharing would make this playdate so much better. Grumpy Toad shares his truck with Pete. You push me and I'll push you. Zoom, zoom, vroom, all around the room. Grumpy Toad shares his blocks. Here are the blocks, Pete the Kitty, for you and me to build a city. Grumpy Toad shares his cape. Okay, time for superheroes to save the day. Have no fear, Wonder Toad and Super Kitty are here, our toys. Grumpy Toad shares all his toys with Pete. They play and play, and they play and play, and play. What a groovy, awesome day! Thank you, Grumpy Toad, for sharing your cape, your truck, and your blocks. Wow, sharing rocks! The end. What was your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is where Grumpy Toad finally shared his cape with Pete the cat, with Pete the Kitty. Pete the Kitty and the Unicorn's Missing Colors by Kimberly and James Dean. Pete sees his friend Stevie the Unicorn at the playground. Stevie looks sad. Hi, Stevie, says Pete. What's wrong? The magic unicorn dance party is tonight, says Stevie, but I lost all the colors in my rainbow tail. I can help, says Pete. We can use my magic paintbrush. Where did you last see your colors? Pete asked. Stevie says, when I was playing in the park. The park is very big. Stevie looks worried. We'll never find my colors before the dance party, Stevie says. Which colors are you missing? Asked Pete. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple are gone, Stevie says. Look! Pete points his magic brush at the berry patch. Let's borrow some red. Pop! A magic red blaze appears in Stevie's tail. Wow, says Stevie. Now we know what to do, says Pete. Great, says Stevie. Do green next. Green is everywhere, says Pete. The grass is green. The trees are green. Pop! Stevie's tail gets a green blaze. Stevie prances. That butterfly's yellow, says Pete. Pop! Stevie's tail gets a yellow blaze. Hurry, Pete, says Stevie. 3 more colors to go. This flower is orange, says Pete. Pop! Stevie's tail gets an orange blaze. Keep going, Pete, Stevie says. The party starts soon. The lake is blue, Pete says. Pop! Stevie's tail gets a blue blaze. 1 more left, says Stevie. The clouds are purple, shouts Pete. Pop! Stevie's tail gets a purple blaze. Yay! Pete and Stevie cheer. Stevie jumps for joy. Pete found all the missing colors. I love my rainbow tail, says Stevie. Come with me to party. Stevie and Pete dance at the Magic Unicorn Dance Party. Stevie's rainbow tail is a big hit. Thanks, Pete, says Stevie. It's cool to help friends, says Pete. The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is when Pete and Stevie dance at the unicorn party. Pete the kitty goes to the doctor. Pete the kitty wakes up. It's time to go to school. Pete stretches his arms, he stretches his legs. Ouch! Pete's belly hurts. Pete calls his dad. My belly does not feel groovy, he said. Pete's dad feels his head. You do not have a fever. Dad says, you just need some rest. Dad tucked Pete back into his bed. Dad kisses Pete's head. Pete pulls up his covers. He thinks he will have a cool day at home. Pete starts to play with his trains. And Pete starts to paint a picture. It is time to get dressed, Dad said. It is time to go to the doctor. Pete does not want to go to the doctor. Pete is scared of the doctor. Dad said, the doctor is cool. She's not scary. Dad takes Pete to the doctor's office. They wait their turn. The waiting room's fun. Pete gets to play with lots of far-out toys. The nurse comes for Pete. She takes him to another room. The nurse checks for a fever. The doctor comes in. She checks Pete's ears. She checks Pete's eyes. The doctor feels Pete's belly. He listens to Pete's heart. The doctor even lets Pete listen to her heart. Don't worry, the doctor says. It's just a bellyache. The doctor gives Pete a cool sticker. She tells Pete to rest. Dad takes Pete home. Dad lets Pete rest in bed. Pete will feel better soon. Dad was right. The doctor was not scary. She was nice. Pete feels better. Soon he'll be back to his groovy self again. The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is where Pete gets to play with all the toys in the doctor's office. Pete the Kitty's Outdoor Art Project by Kimberly and James Dean. Pete the Kitty loves art class. Drawing, painting, and sculpting are his favorite. But today the project is to go outside and make art from nature. At first, Pete doesn't think sticks and leaves and grass make good art. Then inspiration strikes, and Pete learns that nature art is so much fun. Let's find out what he makes in this book. It's time for art class. Pete the Kitty cannot wait. Pete loves art class. Pete is waiting outside the door for art class. He and his friends are super excited. He likes to draw, he likes to paint, and clay is super groovy. He's drawing a tree, he's painting flowers, and he's building a pot. They all look really good. Pete opens the door. Something's not the same. Pete doesn't see paper. He doesn't see paint. Pete sees a bag on his desk. Pete's very confused. There are bags on everybody's desk. I wonder what they're for. Pete looks inside the bag. It's empty. Why does Pete have a bag? A bag's not art. I wonder what they have to do with the bag. Maybe put something in it. The teacher says, "Today we're going outside. We'll make art from what we find in nature." "Cool," says Callie. "Nifty," says Abby. I don't think Pete thinks this is a good idea. He looks slightly confused. But Pete doesn't think it's cool. Pete doesn't think it's nifty. Pete wants to paint or draw. He's not sure grass can make good art. Pete's looking sad. I think he really wanted to paint and draw. Pete and his class go outside. There's a lot to see. Pete sees a leaf. The leaf is groovy. Pete puts the leaf in his bag. I wonder what kind of art Pete can make from that leaf. Pete sees a flower. The flower is awesome. He puts the flower in his bag. Pete sees a stick. The stick is cool. He puts the stick in his bag. I think Pete is slowly starting to like nature. Soon Pete's bag is full. Pete looks inside. He has found a lot of super nifty things. But Pete still doesn't think that they're art. Maybe Pete could try to build with them. Pete looks at Callie. She's making a flower crown. Pete likes the crown. It's fun. Maybe Pete will see other people's art. They might give him inspiration. Pete looks at Abby. She's making a small turtle out of leaves and a pine cone. Pete grins. He didn't know that leaves could look that way. I really like that turtle. Do you? Pete looks back down in his bag. He has a lot of flowers. He has a lot of sticks. He even has an acorn. Pete knows what to do. Now Pete is happy. It'll be very cool. I wonder what Pete's gonna make with all of that. Pete starts with sticks. He uses some flower petals. Pete adds grass and leaves. It's really coming together. I wonder what he's making. Finally, he's done.
Yay!
Pete holds up his art. He made a butterfly.
Wow!
I love it, Callie says. Very rad. Abby says. Good work, says the teacher. Pete smiles. He didn't know nature art could be so fun. Pete finally realized that making art with nature is cool. The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is at the end when Pete makes a butterfly. Thank you for reading with me.